Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. I'm having some technical difficulties. I'm trying to get on with my through my computer. So I'm on my phone right now. So give me 1 second. Be on there. Silas, are you here?
Yes, John.
Okay. Please let everybody in, and then I'll get right there and come on through my computer. Like we had Lily join us. Okay, let's see if this will open this time. Okay, that's better. It's better.
Recording in progress.
No, that's me. See if I can get after this one. Need to end it. I hope it didn't. No. So I'm going to make you the host for a second.
John, you're echoing, so you need to get out of one device.
That's why I'm making you the host.
Yeah.
All right, welcome everyone. Got through the technical difficulties back here. All right, Silas, we ready to go?
Yes, John.
Okay, so I'm going to
Can
share
start.
the screen. I come from a different angle with a different PowerPoint today. Start the slideshow from the beginning. Okay, can you see this all right, Silas?
Yes, John. The screen is visible.
Screen is full. Okay, welcome everyone. So this is our ongoing webinar on H-1B processing. Today we want to focus on the changes in the new I-129. That's not a problem for today. That really doesn't go into effect until April 1st for the paper filing. Although these things are, as I understand, Silas, the online filing has new I-129 now. Is that correct?
Yes, John.
Or does it not go into effect until April 1st also? So anyway, it's what we're going to be doing for the cap season. So let's go through what we have on that. So I'm John Velie. You guys have seen my background over the time, over the different webinars we've had, a bunch of stuff on here. If you need to know more information about me, drop us an email. I'm glad to tell you about what I've done. But since I've been an immigration attorney for 33 years, my brother's an immigration attorney. My great-grandfather was an immigration attorney over 100 years ago, and we've been doing this for a long time. We're now in our second Trump administration, so that's always an interesting time to be doing immigration. It means a lot of changes and a lot of changes that come at you quickly, as opposed to the other process, which is where you get notice and comment, and they kind of give you a heads up and let the stakeholders weigh in. More trying to figure out what things are happening and how to resolve them. But we're good at that. We like to do it, and we're here to help you if you're having problems. What we're going to talk about today is new questions on the I-129, SOC codes and LCA changes and strategies, what the registration has started, and really what's happening out there. Polled some people, love to hear what your experiences are, and why those are issues. I have weighted registrations. It's really what today's issue is going to be, is what's happening and what do we know about the scenario so far. So excited to get into that. But first, so under the this thing is the starting April 1st, USCIS will accept only the 227-26 edition of the I-129. So the question I asked you, Silas, I've now answered for myself. The new one goes into play on April 1st. In the new form I-129, they will only accept the old edition if it's received before March 31st, and they'll reject that old edition if it's received after April 1st. So know it. This can be a problem. Luckily, if they do reject it after April 1st, you can refile. Really, you're going to have from April 1st till June 30th to file your H-1B applications. So if you mess up on this, it won't be fatal as if it would if you file it on the last day of the cap. Important filing dates. We talked about the grace period is you'll accept it up until March 31st, 26, mandatory after April 1st. So you can file with either form, I guess, today, but you might start using the new form and see what it's like. We're going to tell you what's on it. So major changes are the wage level verification. The new form includes fields to capture the specific wage levels 1 through 4 used during the H-1B registration. Under the new rules, level 4 registrations get 4 entries in the lottery, while level 1s get only 1. The form acts as a check to ensure employers don't downscale the wage after winning the live lottery. So whatever you pick to get selected, you're gonna have to stay with it. Now the I-129 has been updated to make sure that you don't. There's a new emphasis on the number of employees the beneficiary will supervise. This is used to distinguish between level 2 professional and level 4 management senior role. So if you're selecting a level 2 and you say there are supervisory duties, they're gonna think you're underpaying your employee. Registration confirmation, petitioners must now provide the beneficiary confirmation number from the H-1B registration selection notice directly on the form to link the petition to their specific weighted entry. That's new this year. Stricter SOC code alignment. The 2006 edition requires more detailed data regarding the minimum degree and specific major required for the role to ensure the standard occupational classification, the SOC code, matches the complexity of the wage level claim. SOC codes are the new issue this year. This is the new toy they're going to be playing. We'll see probably lots of RFEs and denials regarding SOC code selection. It is critical to pick the right SOC code when you register. That's what you're stuck with, guys. If you're registering on your own, you may think about it. We've got a little bit of time left to change that. Call us up for a strategy session. We'll talk about your jobs. Sorry, next one. Section-specific changes. The most significant technical and substantive changes are concentrated in the H-1B and H-1B1 data collection and filing fee exemption supplement. That's page 21 through 23 of the form. These updates align with the newly implemented wage-weighted H-1B lottery system. That's what they look like. So section 2 has some boxes here. Are you an institution of higher education? That's going to put you outside the cap if you are. You're a nonprofit related or affiliated to an institution of higher education. If you're trying to get outside the cap and you select that, make sure you understand what that means. The affiliated with an institution of higher education has been narrowed over the years. What it means is that you share really the same, if it's state university regents, or the same board of directors, I guess if it's a private university, however it's organized, but it's effectively the same owners or controllers. It's not an affiliation like a contract that you hire all their graduates, anything like that. It really is it's formalized and it's ownership based or control based. If you're a nonprofit research organization or a governmental research organization, you can also not be subject to cap. The numerical limitation are the different things you can select. The H-1B bachelor's degree, H-1B U.S. master's degree or higher. Not if you are a foreign-based master's degree, only U.S. If you're an H-1B1, that means from Chile or Singapore, or you're capped exempt. You can be capped exempt for a number of reasons. One, these up here that we talked about, or that you already had an H-1B, and you're not subject to it. So then here below is the changes, levels 1 through 4. That's at the FLC data center. It's the OES process. That's what you want to look at. Numeric limitations, are going through all this. Again, they're going to see what if they're the nonprofits and things like that, qualifying cap exempt institutions, J1 physicians, any of these different things down here, subject to the Guam CNMI cap exemption. These are various reasons that may not be on the cap. Okay, the primary changes in 227-26 compared to the 120-25 edition are as follows. Position requirements. The 2026 edition introduced several new fields in Section 1 to directly collect data that USCIS previously only viewed via supporting documents like the LCA. Item number 7 now explicitly asks what level of education is required for the position. You want to look at the OOH for that, okay? Don't just pick your own requirements. If you and the OOH are different and you're not as restrictive as they are, they'll deny your visa. The OOH, the Occupational Outlook Handbook, is the database that USCIS looks at to determine whether or not you have a specialty occupation. It's not ONET. Anybody that's still using ONET has been asleep at the wheel since about 2017. And I don't know why they're still using it. It is useful when it comes to the labor certifications. It is dangerous to try to use an ONET occupation when it comes to USCIS. They decided they didn't like ONET because there's too many professions in there that they wanted to eliminate, that they did not think were specialty occupations. Go to OOH. That's your safety net, and it has a tab, how to be one, and the how to be one is the educational requirements. You want to see that educational requirement to list degrees or a series of degrees, and that most professions have them. Most is good enough. If it's not most, but it's less than that, it's a problem. If it says that they can get it, that they can perform this job with a high school degree, but some employers want a college degree or university degree, do not select that one. You'll get your visa denied. So that's where you're going to find your education, the OOH. Number 8 asks for the fields of study that would qualify someone. Same thing. Look at the OOH. Don't make it up yourself. It's very dangerous. You can get denied. Requires to state the number of years experience required to qualify. This is sort of a trick question, right? The H-1B specialty occupation is how is it related to a university degree, not how many years experience are required to qualify. These are going to be extra requirements you're putting on your job. Now, that might be a reason that it's a level 4 or something like that, or putting it on there might tell them that you shouldn't have been a level 2, you should have been a level 4. Add skills for specific skills required for the position. You can add this. This can be helpful to you, but again, that may bump up your pay rate, so be careful. And number 11 requires the number of people the beneficiary will supervise. Again, these last 3 are all potentially there to trick you into picking. If you pick too low of a wage for something that is more sophisticated than that level, then you could be, you could get a denial or an RFE and then a denial. All right. So supervising a managerial level position is usually a level 4. Might be a level 3 in some situations. You might want to read up on the levels It's a DOL form, a DOL memo that determines these levels. And level one's an entry level position. If you have a level one, that means you need a college degree, but that's it. A level one is not going to have any discretionary decision. So if you want a level one, the secret language to put in your job description is under the supervision of a senior person in that same type of profession, same type of position, right? They need to be not making any discretionary decisions, just utilizing their university degree to be this professional job. A level four is going to be management level, right? A level two is going to be professional. That's going to be a little bit higher than an entry level. They can have some discretion. Level three can also be managerial. That's where they start saying things like you can have the word lead in front of it, senior in front of it, things like that. So think of the top two are going to be supervisory, the bottom two are not, and look for that. So if you put a level one or even a level two, I think if they supervise people, you're in trouble. And if you add these extra special skills and experience, and then you try to go in with a level one or two, you're probably going to get denied. So watch out for that. Read up on that, understand that, know that, or call an attorney. That's what we're for. Numerical limitations and wage levels, page 22. Under section 3, this is a major addition for the H-1B cap subject filings to link to the position, the new weighted lottery system. Number 2, petitioners will select cap H-1B bachelor's degree or cap H-1B master's degree. Must now select the appropriate wage level. Again, if they're a advanced degree professional, they may think if you put them in a level one that you're gaming the system, and you might end up with it not. This selection must match the wage level including due to the H-1B registration process, the integrity of selection options. Okay, so here's a thing that we've been talking about in our firm. With a client asking that days, like, John, the SOC form, or I'm sorry, the H-1B form only has 6 SOC digits instead of 8. What do we do about that? So looked it up. Here's the scenario. So USCIS requires the standard 6-digit SOC code. That's from the BLS SOC system on the new Form I-129 and the H-1B data collection fee supplement. The SOC field in the H-1B has space for exactly 6 digits, 1 per box. You must obtain the code from the Department of Bureau of Labor Statistics, bls.gov/SOC. So this is really important, Silas. So get the code from this place instead of something else. If the code has fewer than 6 digits, rare for detailed occupations, enter it left justified and pad the rest with zeros. Okay, so if you go to this and there is a 5 or somewhat less than 6 SOC code, then just put zeros at the end. There's no field or provision for the 8-character codes. Again, ONET uses these codes also, right? And that's because they're subcategory codes. ONET's dangerous. Subcategories don't have to be dangerous, right? So let's talk about that. So the SOC code system is useful for 6-digit codes for detailed occupations, most specific official level. Broader categories exist at the 2-digit major group and 4-digit minor broad group level, but you always report the best matching 6-digit detailed code based on the job's primary duties. All other codes, often ending in 9, are available for occupations that don't fit more specific detailed title. For subcategory or specialized occupations, a narrow type of software developer, engineer, or analyst that falls under a broader SOC category, or that ONET distinguishes with an extension. Report the 6-digit SOC code that best matches the primary duties. Provide a detailed narrative of the job duties, job title, minimum education, field of study, experience required, special skills, supervisory responsibilities, and other fields of the updated form. These expanded description sections are how USCIS and the LCA distinguish the exact role within the broader SOC category. The SOC code on the I-129 must match the one on the LCA and the H-1B registration. So what you put on the registration, you're stuck with. Then what you put on the LCA, you're stuck with. The LCA may still reference an 8-character ONET code in some cases, but the petitioner's SOC field stays at the official 6 level for the wage purposes. Okay, very dangerous to play around with this. If it doesn't match, you're probably going to get denied. Subcategory occupations are still permitted in common, however. Nothing in the form, instructions, or policy prohibits them. The change simply standardized the code field to the official BLS 6-digit SOC using the prevailing wage determinations. You must justify and differentiate the specific subcategory through the detailed job description and supporting evidence, the support letter, the LCA, etc. USCIS adjudicates based on the totality of the record. Code plus duties, but plus requirements. It's not the code alone. Same as job type, right? But you need to find an SOC code, and you need to find a 6-digit SOC code and tie it to that. If you try to tie it to an 8-digit SOC code, you're probably going to end up with some problems because it's not going to match. The H-1B is not going to match the LCA. It's not going to match registration. Find a broader one and define it underneath that. Practical tips. Use the BLS SOC code or ONET online to confirm the best 6-digit match. I would stay away from it. Ensure consistency across the LCA, H-1B application, and the petition to avoid RFE or denial, and make sure it's the same one that was on the registration. A lot of us as attorneys are going to get these cases after they've already been registered by somebody else. We can't use a different SOC code. They're stuck with it. If the role is highly specialized, the support letter should explicitly explain why the chosen 6-digit SOC code is appropriate and how the duties align. So for the most current details, always refer to the I-129 instructions and the H-1B supplement on USCIS Gov. If your occupation is complex, consult an immigration attorney like us, and they can help you map out the duties. Can't say that enough right now. This is really, really going to be the battle, it appears, in the H-1B zone. I told you that in our first ones. We didn't know where it was going to be yet. But as we see these things change, we can see where they're going. They're trying to narrow the number of jobs that the H-1B is available for, right? At the end of the day, that's it. They're trying to change the number of jobs and narrow the number of jobs you can get an H-1B for. This has been their game for years. They're empowered right now, and that's what they're going to do. So we're going to see denials based on inconsistencies. We're going to see RFEs before that based on inconsistencies. It's going to be a tough road. So don't just throw something in there because you're stuck with it, okay? Transition and validity dates. The bottom of every page reflects the new 2/27/26 edition date. USCIS will accept the 1/20/25 through date edition through March 31st, but start on April 1st. That's the only one they're going to accept. Other issues. Registration's happening now. It runs through noon Eastern on March 19th. During this window, prospective employers, beneficiaries electronically via USCIS online accounts, they pay a $215 registration. This is going on right now. Selections, including any lottery or weighted selections under new rules, happen after the registration period closes on March 19th. USCIS intends to send the selection notifications by March 31st, 2026 through users' online accounts, not publicly released as aggregate info on the day of selection, but individual notices to those selected. If you want us to register your cases, Silas, this is right, send them to us. Contact us at information@velielaw.com. We'll do it for free. You pay the $215. We'll get you registered. Glad to help right now. Silas, I'll open it up to you for a second, then I'm going to go into what others are saying. But what are some of the experiences you're having with the registration so far?
The main important is focusing on the SOC code. Do send us your job duties so that we can understand what exactly codes fix in for your beneficiary. Because that is a critical thing. As John said, that is the most important thing. SOC code is interlinked with your forms also as well as. So based on that, we can do the filing. So finalizing the SOC code is very important. That's the only thing I want to say.
Thanks, Silas.
Thanks, John.
All right, so here's what's happening. Not surprising, there's a sharp decline in registrations and beneficiaries. USCIS reported a significant drop for 2026. Eligible registrations fell to about 344,000 from 470 in 2025, with unique beneficiaries around 339,000, down from 442. This led to fewer multiple registrations per person and a higher selection rate, 35%, up from 29 in 2025. Those were attributed to stricter beneficiary-centric rules, reducing fraud incentives, higher fees. Broader policy concerns under current administration, potentially deterring submissions. This has been positive by some, usually not in our world, but less gaming of the system, but raises questions about access for skilled workers. Okay, so we don't know what those are. That's last year's numbers. We're fiscal year 2027, but last year dropped. We think we're going to see a big drop this year. So part of that, other things that what's happening is the new weighted selection process is a major shift. Never had to do that before. Having to see what your wage levels were. So you're going to get 4 entries at a wage level 4, 1 entry from a level 1. Potential disadvantage for entry level or lower wage roles because you're going to have worse odds. Increased scrutiny on wage assignment, job duties, SOC codes, and worksite locations to avoid mismatches that could lead to denials or revocations. Again, consistency is going to be the key. Some view this as protecting U.S. workers' rights, while others worry to prioritize certain employers reduces opportunity for diverse talent. The $100,000 additional fee for certain petitions, a new fee applies to many cap subject petitions where the beneficiary is outside the U.S. or ineligible to change their status. It doesn't apply to U.S. change of status approvals. This is discourage registrations, filings for offshore candidates. Ongoing court challenges seek to block or limit it, but I don't see if we're going to get a decision in time to change any of that. We only have a short period left. Potential for denials if unpaid or exceptions aren't granted. So I guess if you are out of the country and you want to file it just to see if someone's going to litigate and win this, it's not a bad idea, but that's the scenario. So ongoing fraud and integrity concerns, while beneficiary-centric rules have reduced multiple registrations and thus fraud attempts, residual discussions include USCIS investigations, denials, and revocations from prior years. So they're still going after the double registrants from years back. Precedent decisions affirming that withdrawing a petition doesn't erase the fraud findings, and warnings against coordination to game selection with risk of perjury attestations, denials, and referrals for prosecution. We're not seeing as many as we were. There's sure a lot of them a couple of years ago, but that's the scenario. Other things are technical and procedural issues. Past season had USCIS system glitches. We haven't seen any system glitches, have we, Sailesh? It's all going pretty smooth.
No, John, till now, no, but we can't predict.
Okay.
The last day of the registration, there might be chances. I am predicting that.
Yeah. Good to get it in ahead of time, just in case there's a problem or it bogs down. Common petition errors of post-selection, mismatched wages, duties leading to RFEs and denials are a hot topic. People are worried about that. And practical worries like passport expiration, timing during registration, multiple employer scenarios, travel impacts. Those are all concerns people are having right now. So I sort of looked around to see what people are thinking. Why don't we open up this now to questions? What's happening out there for you guys? What's on your mind? Silesh, why don't you read us the questions as they come in?
Yes, John, we have one question already from Krishnachari. He's asking, we need to know if the salary level being quoted as for a specific location, county, and we can identify the location and the client after the selection.
Sorry, Silesh, it's a little quiet. Can you read a little bit louder, please?
Yes, sure. He's asking, he would like to know that salary level being quoted as for a specific location or a county, and can we identify the location and the client selection later?
Time. So you're saying is the salary dependent on the local I'm sorry, is the salary based on the location of the job? Is that what they're asking? And can they move them to a different job?
Yes, his exact
Yeah,
question is that
Yes.
only.
that's
Yeah,
I
that
think
is what.
two things are there. I think it's not only the salary, it's the location. So um, if they change the location, um, that could be a problem. But more importantly, um, if the job is below the prevailing wage at that location, they're not going to have met the standard. You need to know that stuff going in. You can put more than one location. So if you put an additional location, but you're going to have to meet the highest prevailing wage. I'm not sure I answered that why, because I really wasn't sure of the question.
So my question was whether the client needs to be very specific. Is this location driven by the client contract, or we are just choosing a county and a level, say level 2, and if we are able to pay that 95,000, which is in the OES, then will that meet the requirement? And I can have a client in that county, any other client.
Sure. I mean, if they're in the same metropolitan statistical area of where you're at, that's fine, right? That's the basic thing. You don't need to file an amended LCA. You don't need to file a new H-1B if they move around at all, right? So the key is meeting the prevailing wage for that county and state for that job, and that should be sufficient. So if you find another end client in the same metropolitan area, you should
Yeah.
be fine.
Okay. So that can be done before the application of the I-129. Am I right?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, okay. And we cannot file an amendment like we used to earlier. Is that correct?
You can always file an amendment. You're going to have to file the actual H-1B based on the registration you filed,
Oh,
and
okay.
then get that approved, and then file the amendment.
Oh, so we can file the amendment before he joins?
If you file the original one,
Yes, we file the original in the place we choose, say
right?
level 2 in a county in Michigan, and then before the person arrives or starts work on 1st of October 2026, are we able to file an amendment if his job changed or the contract is changed? Because
Yeah,
there is a
I don't see
6 months
a
gap.
problem with that.
Okay.
The question would be if you get the first one approved, right?
Yeah,
So there's going to be continue to be, and probably even more, scrutiny on, is this a bona fide job, with
right.
investigations and determining that, right?
Sure.
So the it always attacks the staffing company business model if they think that this job doesn't sound specific enough. I'm not really thinking this is real. So then they go out and they talk to, your beneficiary, the third party, if you did it, to see if this is really what they say it's going to be, right? So there's more of that than we've ever seen. It's more funded than it's ever been, right? So, but if you get it approved, then you can move them to the second visa. If it's not approved but it's pending, and you try to move it, you still risk the first one getting denied, and that breaks the chain. So if that's always an issue, but in any case, I think you understand what.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, thank you, Krishna. Those are great, great questions.
Thanks, John.
Silas, any other questions out
There
there?
is yes, John. We have a couple of questions here. There is one more question that they are not able to find that link biz.gov./SOC.
Silas, I am sorry you're so quiet today. I'm really not hearing these questions very good. Can you speak up a little bit louder? Or if you put it in the chat, I could probably see it. Let me see if I can see the
Now
chat.
audible, John? Now is it audible? Am I audible now, John?
What's that, Silas?
Am I audible now?
Yes, go ahead. Ask me the question again.
Yeah, there is another question asking the link which we provided is not page is not found. They say www.bis.gov/SOC.
They're not finding the page on the SOC code.
Yes.
Is that I can't tell if that address is correct. Can you tell if that address is correct?
No, John, this address is not correct, I guess. We have to give the right address. We will
Yeah.
once research and give you a right address. Um, give us some time on it.
Yeah. I think they made a mistake on the BLS, that is Bravo Lima Sarah, and not
Yes,
BIS. It's not BIS, it's
it's
BLS.
BLS.
BLS. Right.
Yeah.
Good job. Yep, that's correct. Sometimes that happens. Glad we're here to help. Okay. Any other questions?
There is a next question, John, here. What are some of the changes on the new I-129 related to position requirement?
Kind of went through that in detail. Let me go back there and take a look at that.
Yes.
Highlighting it.
The above one. Here is it.
This is it. Okay, so these items, they're on position requirements, page 21, section 1, and there's item number 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so again, I'll go through this because it's so important. What level of education is required for the position? You want to look at the Occupational Outlook Handbook, OOH, and determine what requirements do they have. Okay, so it needs to be at least that or higher. Okay, it then asks a field of study which would qualify them for that position. Same thing. What's in the OOH? What does the OOH require for that position? If yours requires more than that, that's fine. It can. But if it does, watch out for the wage levels, right? So understand wage levels. So wage level 1 is going to be an entry level position. Wage level 2 is going to be a professional position. Wage level 3 is sort of like the early management levels, and wage level 4 is going to be kind of executive highest levels, right? Okay, so if you have somebody and your requirements are high, they're going to be that. So if you have a higher education or a more, first of all, your education level needs to be the same as the OOH, or they may say it doesn't qualify for that occupational SOC code, right? The fields of study as well. And then when they start 9, 10, and 11 is really what you got to be aware of. Number of years experience required to qualify, special skills required for position, and number of people the beneficiary will supervise. Okay. If you have higher years of experience, they may not permit you to be a level 1 or 2. If you have special skills, you might still be a 2, definitely not going to be a 1. And then if you have a number of number of people that are supervising, I really think you need to be looking, and I'm spitballing now, managerial versus executive, right? If there are other supervisory people underneath you, and they're managers, you're probably an executive. You probably need to be at the level 4. If you are managerial and you just have other professionals underneath you, you probably could get away with the level 3. But these are, this is great, right? That's where you're going to be. So that's really what you want to look at when it comes to that. So I know a lot of people, especially in the staffing industry, they have to go as low as they possibly can because they have to make profits, right? There's a margin. It's unlike the jobs with direct hires that they don't have a margin. They can pay what they need to pay. So you got to be careful on that. So what we were doing last year and before is different now, right? You're going to see RFEs. You're going to address these things. And the RFE level is going to be too late. You have to make those decisions today while you're doing the SOC code. You really do, what your wage levels are going to be. If you go too low and you get a guy with high education, advanced degree education, or that you're requiring to have a master's degree, expect them to be higher, at least a 3 or 4. All these different things. That's what you need to worry about. And I think that's the most important thing we can say right now as we're going into H-1B season, and how critical it is that the registration is so much more important this year than it's ever been in the past. Got any other questions, Silesh?
Hey, hi, John.
John, we have another question.
Go ahead,
What
Vinny.
is the wage level and how do we select the correct level?
A little bit louder, Silesh.
What is the wage level and how do we select the correct level?
Okay, let me see if I can find it. Stop sharing for a second. Okay, so we're still going to FLC data center, right?
Yeah. No, John, they're asking about the wage levels.
Yeah, FLC data centers where the wage levels
Yep.
are. Let's share my screen. Show you guys how to find these things. Also, opportunity to show our platform here. So this is our visas.ai platform, which is what we build H-1Bs on, guys. So if I was going to start a new H-1B, I'd go here, we're going to lead. Let's just call it H-1B. Okay, I'm not going to put a company name in right now. Pick the H-1B. Okay, so we do strategy sessions for companies to go through, about the company, but we can also do case specific. So here's your H-1B. So all the different things. We'll talk about the company, the type of visa, and these sort of things. When we're looking at a job, like I told you, you go to the occupational Outlook handbook, right? This is where you can look up a job like developer. This is what USCIS looks at. So I just linked this to my platform. So I go in here. Here's what a software developer is. And here's what I was telling you earlier. How to become one is where they'll tell you the education. So software developers and the other types of jobs, right, which are quality assurance analysts and testers, they need a bachelor's degree. And then these are the type of jobs: computer information technology, engineering, or math, or a related field. So that's kind of a catch-all. right? And it says typically need. So that means it's a requirement, right? So that's under how to become one. Remember, we were talking, you need to know what OOH says. What they do or what your duties are. Now, you don't want to copy these duties. These are vague. They'll never approve it, and they'll think you don't really have a job. But these are the kind of things it does. They analyze needs. They recommend software upgrades. They design pieces of an application or a system. They create models and diagrams. They ensure the program continues to function, and they document things, right? So that's what developers do. So things like analyzing, building, which is this, designing. Those are the things there. Okay. So to go back here, once you know the job, and then here's where the SOC codes are. This is want to come down to prevailing wage. So prevailing wage. So write this, that this is the flag.dol.gov wage data. So OFLC wage search is what you need. So how you find the job is you select now, and then you go all industries, and you want to know the wage term for the SOC code. Actually, they're using the ONET code. So if you don't know your code, you can put in your position, and it'll search. Software developers. That's, need to remember this, 15, 12, 52. Okay. So then you go back. Since we know it. 15, 12, 52. Okay. Computer developers. Then you pick your state. So let's pick Texas county. It'll list all the counties in the state.
John, actually, we are not able to view your screen.
You can't see my
It is a
screen?
previous, yeah, it is a previous screen which is being shown.
I see. Okay, sorry. Okay. Can you see it now? Oh,
No,
can you see it now?
yeah, now.
Okay. So let me back up. So it's an OFLC wage search, right? So I'm gonna start over. Okay, so you're gonna select a date. You're gonna pick the current date. Then you're gonna go all industries, and then if you don't know your code, you can go in and type it in. I don't know which one it is. I know I want a developer. Search. It says software developers, and you see the code there. You can click on it to look at it, but really you just want the number 15, 12, 52, right? And you go back, type in, say this was blank, then I would type in what it told me, 15, 12, 52. Click on it because it'll open it up. Then you pick your state. So I picked Dallas, I mean Texas, and I want the county, and then it'll list all the counties in Texas, right? So I'm gonna go down here to Dallas County, submit, and here's my wage levels, okay? Wage level 1, 2, 3, and 4. So as we talked about, wage level 1, those are entry-level positions. Wage level 2, those are professional positions. Wage level 3, those are sort of managerial, and wage level 4, those are executive. Okay, so that's what you want to do. And if you're registering, then this means you get 4 registrations, 3 registrations, 2 registrations, 1 registration. That's how much it is. And again, I told you, if you're going to do a level 1, you only get 1 registration, but those are entry-level positions, so they have no discretion. They need to be under the supervision of a senior software developer. Does that help? Hope that was good.
Yeah, John.
Okay, so that's how we use our platform, guys, so we can we can go through this. We can share our screen with you. We can go through these different things. You know, help you find the answers, and this is how we build visas through our team and of people in many different places across the country and around the world. So, any other questions, Silesh?
Yes, John, there is another question asking, selection of wage level is after registration or before registration?
Before. Very important.
Yeah. The next question, John, what are the documents we required for OPT candidate for registration?
Tell us what you want, Silesh. Tell us what you're asking for people to do the registration.
Sorry, John.
So will you tell them? So it's OPT. So these are student visas. What are the things you need to do registration?
Sure. We will need passport first thing, and the job duties, select the SOC code. That's the main thing. And for the registration, this is more than enough. But for the filing, we will have a big list of things which we require.
You need wage too, right? The SOC code plus wage.
Yes, yes. The wage is that you can decide, but yes,
But the
we will
documents
let you.
you want to is what you're saying, right? So
Yes.
usually the job description will tell you what the job is, so you can look up the SOC code, right?
Yes, sir. Also, we will need to look at the education documents to decide whether we can proceed with the master's cap or the regular cap.
That's right.
It is that. Yeah.
Very good.
These
Thank
are
you,
three list
Silesh.
of documents.
Okay. And Venu, you had a question. You want to ask that, or was it already answered? Venu Goganeni, I believe you were trying to ask a question. You're muted right now if you're talking.
I can read it for you, John. He's asking,
Here he is.
the question is, the
Venu, did
candidate
you want to ask your
has,
question?
Hey, hi John. I am Venu. So I have a question. If candidate has 5 or 6 years of experience and he have a master's degree in 2024 in United States and he is in STEM OPT, can we do registration as wage level 1?
So he's got a master's degree, 5 years of experience, and you want to do a level 1.
Yeah.
Level 1s are always going to be dangerous, Venu. They've been dangerous for a number of years. He's going to have to be a non-discretionary job, right? So does he have any people underneath him?
Actually, no, he completed master's in 2024. Right now he's on STEM OPT. So I just wanna have that question. So
Well,
whether
but I'm
if
asking you a question before I can give you an answer.
yeah,
Will that job will supervise any people whatsoever?
right now so far no.
Okay, so that's good. I mean, if it had any supervisory things, no. There is a chance. We haven't really seen a lot of RFEs like this, but I think this is the year we'll start seeing them. Is where people's backgrounds don't match their jobs, right?
Okay.
We haven't seen those really, have we, Silas? But I think we've
no,
seen
John.
a lot of discussion in the H-1B legislation world to try to change the visa around that, right? So yours could be the type that they would say, and it's not a level 1. This guy's got a master's degree and 5 years experience. We don't do it. Now they're going to ask you on the form, the I-129, the new form, to talk about the requirements of the job. Does it require a bachelor's degree or a master's degree? Is it supervisory anybody? Does it have any special skills? If you're a level 1, you have to say no to all those things.
Okay, got it.
Right.
I got your point.
But I think you're probably going to get an RFE if you try that. Would be my feeling,
So
but I don't know
actually
that.
he completed masters in 2024. So that's the main point. So he have an experience in here 1.5 year and he have an other experience in other country like India. So in this scenario, can we do our wage level 1 or level 2? So which is the most preferable for? that particular
I
candidate?
think level ones are really, really tough no matter what.
Okay,
right?
level 2 is good, right?
I think level ones are really, really tough no matter what. What you've added to it, and you're trying to make a distinction like when he got the master's degree. I don't think that matters whatsoever. He has a master's degree and he has 5 years experience. And you want to put him in a level one. Level ones are for people with no experience. They don't do anything other than being guided through things. If this guy's complexity of his job is anything above that, I think we're going to see a fight on these SOC codes and on these wages, right? I think they're telling you this by showing you how serious they are about it, right? So I think nobody knows the answer because they haven't done it yet, right? But I think or you're prepared and I'm prepared for these types of questions to be coming at our client. So if you told me, hey, I tried level one and look, I got an RFE, I'd say, yeah, I saw that coming a mile down the road. And I think you do too. So I think you got to figure out, is it worth it at a level one? Is there any profit margin for you? I mean, at a level two, is there any profit margin for you at that? If there's not, why do you do it, right? If there is, it may not be as much, but at least you can get it approved. But I fear that under those fact patterns, Venu, that they will likely give an RFE. You may be able to try to explain it, but when you're trying to explain it, you're going to have to show that this guy does not utilize those 5 years experience, does not utilize this master's degree. The job itself is an entry-level position.
Yeah, I got your point, Jan. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Venu. Good question.
Thank you.
How are we doing on time? Well, I think we've passed it. I was a little worried today, now that we've done this 3 or 4 weeks, that we'd start running out of content. Your questions were great, everybody. Please turn back in next week. We'll keep doing
before
this.
you finish, sorry, there is one last question you need to answer.
Okay,
this.
we'll say one.
There's they're asking, can we file the registration and H-1B from employer location, like local office? Later, can we do an amendment?
Yeah, if there's work there, right? I mean, so look, these questions have evolved over the years. The way they look at it's evolved over the years. Of course, you can do work from your company, where your company's located, but you have to have work there for them, right? That's the question. So I think why they're asking it might be different than how USCIS is going to analyze it. Of course, you can file an amendment if the job changes. The questions that USCIS are looking at, what they're investigating, is if they think there isn't work when you file these, right? And a number of years ago, it was really easy to get a bunch of cases approved and then move them around. That they don't do that as much anymore, and here's why: they investigate, they send out people, they can go to your location and they'll see if there's anybody working there, and is there any job, and if they are working there on the job, are they doing what they said they were going to do? So how did you describe your job? Is that work there for them, right? So sure, you can amend an H-1B, but the problem really facing is there work that I can describe when I file the H-1B? And on that note, I'll leave us there. Come back next week, everybody. Look, we learned a lot since our last webinar a week ago. We'll learn more. And so keep turning up. And if you have more questions, email them to me, information@velielaw.com. You can also set a strategy session. We can talk to you about your case or your company and all of its cases. Love to help you. It's going to be tough times, but we're here for the tough times. All right. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, John.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you, John.